my career and what's next.
Now, your dad, Jan, was I believe, two-time state champion in Ohio, which is that's the creme de la creme of state titles. You win an Ohio State wrestling title, you pretty much got the look of somebody who's going to be an All-American wrestler, maybe a national champion. You followed in it. Did you feel pressure? You won a state championship. I think you were runner-up your junior year in high school. Yeah. Did you feel any pressure to follow in Dad's footsteps at a great program too? St. Edward's is still going. That train's still rolling, producing top wrestlers.
Yeah. Well, it all kind of starts with I competed in Ohio when I was 3 years old, and that's kind of how I got going, and then we moved a couple different places, and we ended up out here when I was 10 years old in Vegas. But I always wrestled. I always wanted to be good at that. I think my dad, he never pushed me to do it, but he taught me about the sport to make me really love it and want it, and to be a fan of the Brands brothers and all the old school. I knew all the old school names. And
roommates with Rashad Evans, by the way. Roommates, college roommate with Rashad Evans.
Yeah. And so I grow up here, and I do pretty good. I mean, this state isn't an Ohio or a Pennsylvania. It's actually getting better now. There's a lot of good kids, but back there was still a lot of room to grow. But, and I knew that. And in my 9th grade here, I didn't place at state. And then 10th grade, I won state. And I kind of had a deal that if I won state here, I could go to a school. I could go out of state to a school. And one of the schools we were choosing was Calvary Chapel in California, and it's a great school, and it was one of the top schools in the nation at that year, and then also St. Edward's, and then also Blair Academy. It was just more about what would be the easiest, and but St. Edward's was always, I kind of grew up there, and that school was unbelievable. Like at that time, I think we even went to a dual meet when I was 4 years old or whatever, and he won 2 state champs there, and everybody knew him, and I wanted to go there and get 2 state champs, and I get there, I pack up all my stuff, and I lived with a couple people. I got aunts and uncles.
You didn't live with your dad wasn't there when your dad stayed behind in Vegas.
Yeah.
Was Dad at your state when you won that state title? Though Dad got to come in.
No, Dad didn't come in. Dad didn't get to come in.
How did you find out? How did you win it? And then back then, there's not the internet.
No, actually, they were there. They weren't there my junior year. I lost.
Okay.
And then they were there my senior year. I won it. And
did he cry? Did your dad cry?
I wasn't in the stands. I was on the mat.
Yeah.
So he might have had a couple tears, but
yeah.
It was really good to go back to where we came from, and to get the state championship and to be on a national championship team. And then a couple weeks later, I went to Pittsburgh. I won the high school. I won that nationals out there, and then it was a great career.
What was your signature wrestling move in college?
It was just beating on the head. It was kind of that brute Tom Brands, like.
What's the key? Without I got a titanium plate in my neck, so without that, what's the key? Because honestly, I kid you not. So Gray Maynard and I had the privilege to train with Gray for a good while back in the early Robert Drysdale gym days. And I kid you not, there was a time I remember where, they would put me in, Robert would put me in groups with Gray Maynard and Tyson Griffin. I don't know why he thought I was your guy's size, right? So this Gray's like 180, Tyson's like 188, 5 foot whatever, and 180 some pounds. And I would do 3-man wrestling with these guys. And I remember one time, literally, when you snapped me, and it was everything I had to catch my face, my nose from literally from going from eating the mat. Just bam. I mean, literally everything I had to catch. So what's the key of being heavy? Where are you? You're not back of the neck. You're somewhere else, right? What's the key to being heavy on the head? Because a lot of people mess that up. Not a lot of guys are good at that.
Well, you got to go through a lot of workout partners and make a lot of people quit. If they're quitting, you're doing it right. You know, there's no real technique. You got to get your own. You know, because
they don't make friends during practice.
Yeah, you don't make friends during practice, and that's part of where I got the bully, and so it's just really coming in your own. Like, I watched a lot of the Tom and Terry brands. They were heavy on the head, Iowa style, and I had a coach, John Heffernan. He was a couple-time All-American at Iowa, and he coached at St. Ed's, and he kind of got me into that Iowa style, and I did that all the way through, and it was just being heavy on the head to where a lot of other stuff opens up, whether it's a double leg, single leg, whatever will score points, And
now, coming from St. Ed's, where you won the state title, and then you were a 3-time All-American at Michigan State. But were you happy with your career? You were looking for a national championship.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you got on the podium.
Yeah.
You got All-American 3 years, but you were eyeing a national championship. How do you feel about when you look back on your collegiate wrestling career? What disappoints you? What makes you think, well, if I had done that, did differently?
I mean, of course, probably a lot of good kids. I was a blue chipper coming out of high school, and I had a lot of offers from schools. I wanted to go to Iowa because I wanted to compete for the brands and kind of go through all the stuff that Iowa did,
right.
Training and I ended up going to state.
What happened there with Iowa?
They couldn't offer me enough,
Okay.
And I had parents that they didn't make a lot of money, and they bent over backwards to get me back to a school to get me into college with a hope to get school paid for.
Yeah.
And
so you got a full ride to Michigan State, though.
Yeah,
you did.
Full ride, and there was a couple other schools, Arizona State, and but like going into it, as a blue chipper, you're concentrating on the highest of the high, 4-timer. Like I want to win an NCAA championship every year, and I went to a great school. I wouldn't change it ever. Me and the coach didn't see eye to eye, like on a lot of stuff. And if I had to do it all over again, I would have been a lot more organized about how I train and how I approach competition, and I would have known that hey, if I don't win 4 NCAA championships, 3 NCAA championships, 2 or even a NCAA championship, it doesn't really affect him. It affects me. So I would have took it into my hands more, just my training, if I wanted to take a day off, or if I wanted to not compete in a dual meet, I would have been a little bit more persistent about how I was feeling and how hard I had to train, and just how intense, and it's just because ultimately when you compete in a sport, to where it's like a man-on-man, it's just ultimately it's up to you if you're going to get the win or not, and you can have great people to help you out. You can be with horrible people, but you're going out there and you're taking the win and you're taking the loss, especially a loss.
you're not into, like, let's use an exaggeration, like Rocky 1 with Rocky with Mick, where Mick is just like the the Jedi, and Mick knows everything, and then Rocky just absorbs it and just should do it. And you say, hey, there needs to be some feedback and some discretion by the athlete themselves, and say, okay, well, wait, this is what I'm feeling like I need. I feel like I should be drilling this more. I feel like this is more my style, maybe.
Rocky is a movie, and obviously it's hard to put like a competition in a movie, a real competition. They Hollywood edited it up, but there are people who click, coach and athlete, and if it does happen, you got to know that, and you got to trust. But there's a lot of times where we get these unbelievable athletes, these people that can go so far, but they get caught up in like wrong training, wrong coaching, and it's just it isn't good. Ultimately, as an athlete, you got to know your body as quick as you can. You got to learn it, and high school is like a good time to do that. By the time you get into college, you should know your body and how you train, and your strengths, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and it's just ultimately about knowing what you need to do to become a champion, and if you have a great coach, awesome, and if it's a great coach, he'll probably work with you anyway, like ask you, hey, how you doing today? Well, how hard you want to train, because ultimately I can push a kid, I can push a guy. Once you hit that past 18 point, you got to be smart about training. You got to be a little bit in tune with who you are, and coaches kind of have to ask you, like, hey, I was kind of playing on a hard one. How you doing? Where you at? And if he's just like, alright, then maybe you pull back a little bit, or a guy that's in tune with how he trains and how he feels can be honest, like, hey man, I'm not feeling good at all, I'm gonna pull back today. Okay, cool.
You were roommates with Rashad Evans,
I
believe, at Michigan State. What you guys were still really good friends, or
really good friends? Yeah.
What was it like being? What did you see a younger Rashad? What was that like?
Well, the story I always tell about him is he came from a junior college, and I remember he came into the room, just got to school, and anytime you get freshmen or new guys in there, it's kind of like new meat, and you want to check what they're made of, and you want to put them through their paces, and kind of enjoy doing that. It's
an induction.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's like, new meat. Beginning of the year, I get to. Are you saying here live on Mind Master you got the better of Rashad that day on day one? No. This is what I'm saying. It's a great story. He came in and he was out of shape, and I think it was Corey Posey. Anyways, there was a lot of guys that went. He was a little bit bigger, but there was a lot of guys that just went after him, and I remember him just being so tired, and these guys just beating him, like doing what they want, and he would just be so gassed out, walking back to the middle, and they take him down again, and just again, and he just kept taking it, kept coming back for more, kept coming back for more. I'm like, he's not a freshman, he doesn't really have to do this. Like, if it was me, I'd be like, hey guys, I'm not gonna get injured, like, I'll, whatever. Or me, I probably would have been in shape coming into school, because I know people would have tried to test me, but he wasn't. Anyways, he kept answering the scratch and just going back to the middle, and taking his ass whooping, but I saw him systematically get everybody back throughout the year. So it was really intriguing, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I like him. You know, is that he kept it in his head, and he plugged away, and he got back in shape, and I saw him kind of, you know, take a checklist of all the guys in his head, and he got them all back, you know, throughout the year. You know, and he probably doesn't even know that
we're paying attention.
We're paying attention, but I love that type of stuff. Like that's what sports are about, you know, is like, all right, you got me, now it's time, and you slowly work your way back and get that.
So your relationship with the gi, because you've trained